Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes? Okay, so it's 12:05. We're going to get the meeting started. We have a lot to cover in such a little time. So first, I'm going to do a very short welcome to you all. Thank you guys for coming to such a very important meeting today. We have chapter elections and our tentative agreement. I'm sure everybody has questions. So we're going to have our elections team for chapter elections speak to you guys about the process, and we have some members of our bargaining team here today who are going to do a presentation and do a question and answer afterwards. So first, I just want to give a quick thank you to all of our volunteers, your executive board members. We have Mary Kendall in the back outside, she's your secretary. Peter Grafe, your treasurer. Mike Walker, Unit 9 bargaining unit rep. And Joyce Geipel, Unit 2. And I am Rosalinda Romero. I am your vice president and chief steward. And we have Nick Wurst, who's your labor relations representative here today. So I want to thank everybody for all their help. So the first order of business today, everyone, is our budget. And so on your tables is a copy of our chapter budget. And we have Peter Grafe, our treasurer, who's going to be presenting it to you guys.
So we're starting with the boring stuff first, and that is our chapter budget. There are about 3 copies on each table, and the reason I didn't make copies for everybody is that most people do not keep them, so it would just be throwing away a lot of paper. So there should be about 3 copies per table, and so our budget for next year, our revenue, our dues income is $1 per represented employee per month. So that's both members and non-members. And we have about 635. So times 12, that's $7,620 in revenue. So from that, we have our expenditures. Our main expenditure each year are the chapter meetings. We have 2 main ones every year in July and now in December. And that's the majority of our budget. And while we're at it, since we're talking about chapter meeting, how about a hand for Fernando and Laura and all the great food? So the next item are our chapter executive meetings. That are the meetings of our executive board, all our chapter officers. That's 1 meeting per month. In addition to our general membership meetings, we have also unit meetings during the year. Not all 4 units every year, but we do have a Unit 2 only meeting, Unit 5, Unit 7, and Unit 9. And again, not all 4 every year, but we try to have those periodically too. And the last 2 items below that are CSUEU Board of Directors meetings and Division BUC meetings. Those are statewide meetings where we need to send people occasionally to those, and we're haven't allotted too much for that, but we do have some allotment for that. And finally, postage of $40. So that's about it. So let me hand it over to Rosie for our vote.
Okay, chapter 306. I'm pulling a motion to approve the budget as presented by our treasurer. All those in favor, please say aye. Oppose? Abstentions? Okay, this motion carries. Thank you, Peter. So next on our agenda is, right during this time, I'm going to introduce our chapter elections chair, Raquel Arcia. All of your executive board members are elected, and we're all up for re-election again, or those who are welcoming to run. So here is Raquel, who's going to explain the process.
Hi, everyone. Happy holidays. I want to announce the Elections Committee. I'm the chair, and Jacqueline Adams is one of our committee members over here, and Jan Martinez, and Boz Wanger, who's over here at the back of the room, that we're all on the committee. And I want to let you know that you need to be a CSUEU member in good standing in order to vote. So if you are not a member and you'd like to be, fill out a membership card, and we have some available at the elections table in the back of the room over there where Jan's sitting. So the positions we have that are up are for president, who is also general counsel delegate, vice president, and chief steward, secretary, treasurer, and organizing chair, as well as Unit 2, Unit 5, Unit 7, and Unit 9 bargaining unit representatives. Officer descriptions and eligibility are on the nomination and consent form. Please note that all officers and bargaining unit representatives are required to become certified stewards. There are nomination and consent forms available at the elections table. You can fill out one now and hand it in to one of us at the elections table, or you can bring it to any one of us anytime until December 15th. Friday, December 15th is when they're due, 5 o'clock. So the election is going to be held by CSUEU headquarters via mail-in ballot. These ballots will be mailed to your home address. Therefore, it is very important that your address is current in our database. If you've had any changes, please fill out a member information update form, which is available at the elections table. Does anybody have any questions? Great. So let's go on with the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Raquel. Okay, so here we are, the most important part of our meeting, right? We've reached a tentative agreement after almost 11 months of bargaining. So today, we have part of our bargaining team here to help present questions, answers, and everything about the tentative agreement. So I'm going to introduce Rocky Sanchez, Vice President of Representation. We have Carolyn Duckett, Bargaining Unit 7 Chair. We have Mike Chavez, Bargaining Unit 5 Chair. And we have Rich McGee, Bargaining Unit 9 Chair. Here you go, Rocky.
Thank you very much. First, before we actually get started with the PowerPoint presentation, I just want to say, on behalf of the bargaining team, thank you all. We wouldn't have gotten this agreement if it wasn't for all of you activists rallying, marching, signing petitions, sending off emails, letting your administrators know you were not happy, because it freaked them out that they actually called the chancellor's office to say, what is going on? Our people are angry. You need to take care of them. So again, thank you for backing us up and for standing strong with one union, one voice. Thank you. So now I'm going to get started with this ratification process. And basically what it is this is your bargaining team. The chairs and vice chairs to 2, 5, 7, and 9, myself and Pat Gant, who's the president statewide for CSUEU. How did we get here? Well, starting in 2016, that's when we started gearing up. We started sending out member surveys. We had workshops and meetings to identify key issues. We wanted to know what all of you wanted when we bargained. In January of 2017, we opened up articles in our contract that we wanted to bargain. CSU did the same thing. That's called sunshining. From February through, February through October, we had over a 10-month period of multi-day bargaining sessions, caucusing, everything. On October 25th at 10:45 p.m., now we started that day at 9 a.m., so that was over 12 hours that we were facing across the table. At 10:45 p.m., we finally reached a tentative agreement, and so now we're doing the ratification. All of you said you had 2 goals that you wanted to be met, that you wanted us to bargain for. You said we need raises, and you wanted your benefits protected. So what we did and what we got in this contract is that every CSUEU represented employee will be receiving an increase of more than 9% over a 19-month period. What that means, retroactive to July 1 of this year, you will be receiving 3%. July 1 of 2018, another 3%. July 1, 2019, another 3%. But you must be on active pay status or on leave of each date in order to get that 3%. We increased the maximum of the salary ranges, but left the minimum alone. And guess what? These salary increases are guaranteed. They are not dependent upon whether they get money. I have been on my campus for 25 years, and I recall prior to the furloughs that every year there was a reopener and they bargained over salary. Sometimes we got like a little 0.5 or a 1%. But every year we didn't know whether we were going to get anything. Now we know, like this last contract, we're guaranteed the 3% for each year. But wait, there's some more here. All classification minimums will be retroactively increased to at least $15 an hour. So those who are not making $15 an hour minimum now, what will happen is that they will do the 3% increase. If you're still below the $15, you will be upped to $15 an hour. And from now on, once the contract's ratified, no CSUEU bargaining member will receive less than $15 an hour across the state in all CSUEU campuses and at the office of the chancellor. For those that work on shift diff or get shift diff, we were able to get it increased to $1.35 and $2.30 per hour depending on the shift that you work. Plus, we're getting a one-time $650 recognition bonus. I call it a ratification bonus. Paid to each employee once the contract is ratified. And that brings up the over 9%, because the $650 across the system makes up about a 0.1% pay increase. So that's in the comp pool. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mike Chavez.
Thank you, guys. Like Rocky said, this is impossible without the help of you members, right? So thank you. I take a personal privilege to thank each and every one of you guys. Hats off to the catering team. Food was excellent. Food was excellent. Thank you. We're here to talk about the benefits, though. There's no changes to the health care, the dental, the vision, the life insurance benefits, nor the rural hair care stipend, the retirement contributions, nor changes in the fee waiver provisions. More importantly, there's no parking increase for the life of this contract. Hallelujah, yeah. Unfortunately, we have no control over the health rate premiums. They're individually negotiated with the companies, though, CalPERS. Like Rocky said, these are guaranteed salary increases. No reopeners in any year, including the benefits. Remember, if you're thinking about retiring, we suggest that you contact your CalPERS before retiring. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the ratification process. Only CSUEU members may vote. If you're not sure if you're a CSUEU member, look on your paycheck stub. It should have an F for fee payer or D for dues. If you have an F, there's a membership cards flying around here. Sign it up. Let's get you to vote on this contract. For instance, if you earn $3,000 per month, your membership dues would just be 6 pennies more per month, less than about 72 cents more per year. Join, guys. Remember, if you're a fair share fee payer, you can't vote on this, on your raise that could be coming. Join the union and be a member and vote. The ratification timelines, we're moving into the 21st century, so a lot of the stuff is electronics. Units 2, 5, 7, and 9, they're all doing electronic. But what units 5 and 7 are, we're also doing paper ballot. But we can't do both. So units 5 and 7, that's either or. If you're already doing it electronically, you can't do it ballot. But units 5 and 7 are the only ones that are doing them both on those. It said you can only choose one way to vote. If you do not receive a ballot in the mail by early January 2018, request a provisional ballot. If you are a fair share fee payer and want to join the union, request a provisional ballot and return with a membership card. You can request a provisional ballot from either calling the CSUEU headquarters or from your local chapter president. Thank you. Here's my good friend right here.
All right. I'm excited. How's everybody? My name is Carolyn Duckett. I'm the Unit 7 chair, and I work at the Office of the Chancellor, which is the belly of the beast. And I tell you, they fought us tooth and nail, but we fought for our members. And thank you all who supported the bargaining team, because without you, we wouldn't be standing here today. We'd probably be still extending. So thank you for your support. I'm going to continue. It says, but wait, there's more. IRP, in-range progression. We maintain the IRP process. We can request an IRP. Even our manager can do the same. Campus IRP guidelines must be consistent with the collective bargaining, CBA. Now, let me mention this to you. When we were bargaining, they wanted to take that out of your hands. They did not want the members to be able, or staff to be able to submit an IRP. They said, no, we don't want it. Only the managers can do it. And we fought that back. We said, no, that's unfair. Because if a manager sees maybe Rosie and see you, and if there's favoritism, the manager can say, no, I want Rosie to have this IRP and not you. We fought that. So it remains now. You can still submit your IRPs as well as managers. Sorry to use you as an scapegoat. Extended employee rights. You are now guaranteed an interview. Now, this is a good one. This is huge, you all. You are now guaranteed an interview for a CSUEU bargaining position for a minimum requirements if your minimum requirements are met. That means if there is a position in the same department or another department that you feel that you can qualify for, with minimum requirements, you can apply and make sure that you go forth with that too, because this is going to be a new one in Article 9. You now have 10 days to review the draft of your performance eval. Remember, it was 5 days. Now you have 10 days to review it. It's a good thing. It's no rush. Your performance evaluation must be based on job-related duties. So make sure when you receive your performance eval that you go over the information, make sure they're not sticking anything that should be or should not be in there. Make sure you review it carefully. You now have the right to a union representative in a meeting with your appropriate administrator to discuss your performance eval. So if you're not happy with your performance eval, you want to talk to an HR director or HR management, you can take a steward, your chapter president, in the meeting along with you. Next. Okay, this is the one I like too. I had 23 years at the Chancellor's office. All right. Increased vacation, carryover. From 1 year to 10 years, it was 272 hours. Now we put a cap. We brought that up to 320 hours, so you won't lose any of your hours. Now, if it's 10 years or more, we raised it up to 440 hours. This is what MPP used to get. We got it now. That's right. That's right. We got that. Immediate vacation requests can be made orally, then later documented in writing. So make sure when you request your vacation that you have it documented in writing. And lastly, additional improvements. A working group consisting of the CSU and CSUEU will be formed to review salary structure issues. An employee may request in writing a lateral reassignment, this is a new one too, to a posted position that is in the same classification and skill level as the employee's existing classification and skill level. So if you see a position there that you feel that you're qualified for it, you can request in writing that you want that position. The CSU and CSUEU will bargain over issues related to the athletic trainer classification within 90 days of ratification. That's a big one. This is for Unit 2, because we know that a lot of our athletic trainers have been working long hours and have not been considered. So this is going to be brought up after 90 days of this ratification. So thank you all. I really appreciate you all being here, and I hope you enjoy and love this contract, because I do. So turn over to Rich.
Okay. Hello, East Bay. Yay, or Hayward, that's actually is the official name. It was Hayward 30 years ago. It's Hayward for the rest of my life. Rich McGee, State Chair, Bargaining Unit 9. Been on my campus since 1981. I'm in my 34th year of CSUEU employment. Hopefully I'm looking at finally thinking of when I should bail. 5 or 10 years seems like the best time. I've been doing this a lot, folks, since 1992. The only time I was not on the bargaining team was when I quit to become chapter president and married the chair of Bargaining Unit 9 at the time. We had some tremendous union arguments at night, saying how, oh, you're messing up the Unit 9 people. But I'm glad to be here, one of my favorite campuses. You have a tremendous supportive staff here, and thank you, every one of you, for giving up your lunch hour for us today. Some of this is minutiae. If you're a steward, negotiations have to be within 90 days for a new employer orientation, or 30 days, I'm sorry. Desirable experience when you apply for a job has to be related to that job now. It can't be because the boss likes you better than they like him. Tie it back to the CQS, the Classification Qualification Standards. That's what's going to get you the job. Employee duties and responsibilities must be consistent with a classification standard. 25 years ago, it was a typo. And the contract said classifications. It says, oh, you can wash windows and you can be a chef, because it's classifications. And the CSU refused for over 20 years to get that little S out of there. We lost cases on this. Oh, you could be a window washer and a deckhand on the cruise ship because it's classifications. Now it's one classification. Glad to hear it. If you're on your break and somebody boss-wise bothers you during your break time, you get that time back. That's brand new. Next slide, please. All right, intermittent employees. This is a statewide thing to comply with the tax code. Intermittents used to work January to December. They now will work July 1 to the end of June. That way the department has more fiscal knowledge and hopefully doesn't have to fire anyone in the middle of December saying, ran us out of money. We're going to meet to discuss the implementation of a statewide evaluation process. You know how we all live and die by that crappy evaluation you see every June? We hate it. We have been saying for the last 15 years there is no standard in employee evaluations. They have agreed to meet with us and standardize employee evals, finally, at least talk about it. And the last line I'm very proud of, it's my language, and they took it and we signed it immediately. I don't think they know what they actually did. The classification levels, satisfactory, excellent, outstanding, must be clearly defined in the classification and achievable. When I got my last evaluation, I dropped from excellent to satisfactory with a new boss. Nothing changed. All of a sudden, it just went click. So I asked him, hey, boss, how did I drop from excellent to satisfactory? And his quote was, the last excellent person walked on water, got nailed to a tree for it 2,000 years ago. If you think you're excellent, walk on water and I'll give it to you. So that's a change. Next slide. Yes? That will change in the evaluation discussion we're going to have within 90 days that this thing gets signed. That was old contract. This is new contract. They have to be achievable now. All right. If you're a grievant with a union steward, you don't want to talk about what you want to settle on, which is great. The boss should say, what will it take to make you happy? You don't have to disclose that level 1 anymore, grievances. Temporary employees get a performance review. That's fine. For you exempt people in the audience, if you get a call back when you're off your work shift, you now get that time back. old contract said management may authorize time. The new contract says management will authorize time. So if you're at home and you work 2 hours on a database problem at night, you get 2 hours when you talk to your boss. You're not allowed to log in a timesheet, but your boss has to give you that time. Huge change. Every single one of the bargaining team, for the first time, and the best contract I've seen in 25 years, and the entire board of trustees, they're all in favor of it. Our board, we all urge a yes vote on this contract. There is no downside. For those who wonder what we gave up, 3 things. First, 10-year vesting. We are the only state agency that required anyone to work 5 years to get health care for life. The cost for that's about $750,000 per employee. The people that work for SEIU, they have 20 years vesting, DMV and whatnot, just to get health care. So we're changing it for 10 years for new employees. They said they would not sign a contract with us if we didn't have 10-year vesting. Second, and this is again, they blame me for it, I had to go to an outside campus and serve a subpoena on a bad manager who was being sued. I gave my boss 3 weeks notice saying I'm going to go serve the subpoena. The boss then called HR and says, we can't find Rich. We think he left campus. So now if you're a steward, you have to have your boss's permission in writing before you can go represent someone. They have to respond in 4 hours, or you can go to their boss. It's just a steward type issue. And finally, there is no third point. I lied. There's no downside. That's it, folks. That is the complete tentative agreement. We urge a yes vote. We will now open the floor up for questions. I'll have the mic back to Rocky, and thank you.
Okay, before we get to any of the questions, going to the other campuses, we've heard the same questions over and over again. So hopefully, if I respond to to questions from other campuses, I'll answer some of yours. The $650 recognition or ratification bonus, you would be eligible for that as long as you're on active pay status when the Board of Trustees also ratifies it. We ratify it, and the Board of Trustees ratify it. They would most likely ratify it on January 30th. So if you are planning to retire on December 31st, you will not get that bonus. You will receive your retroactive pay, but not the bonus. If you work part-time, if you work 20 hours a week, that $650 would be prorated. So you'd get half of that, not the full amount. Second, when can we see the money? Right? When can I see this coming up? Worst case scenario, because we are dealing with the State Controller's Office, most likely it won't happen till March. We'll get a separate check for the retroactive pay, and then we'll get a separate check for the bonus. Best case scenario to see the 3% incorporated into your current paycheck would be February. But don't hold your breath. I tend to see things when it comes to money coming from the State Controller's Office or the Chancellor's Office as looking at the glass half empty. Everything else to me is half full, except for when it comes to money, because I've been around 25 years. Then the 10-year vesting. Those of us that are in this room on active pay status, that does not affect us, because either you've already done 5 years or you're working towards 5 years. You don't have to worry about that. It's anybody that is hired July 1, 2018, and moving forward that will face the 10-year vesting. So those are the questions that we keep getting over and over again. And so now I will open the floor to whatever questions.
Folks, I just want to let you know the $650 is pre-tax. So when you get your actual check, you're going to get about $340. Just don't want you to over budget.
Any questions? No, I already answered the questions before they got asked.
I just want to say a big thank you to you all for getting this, for us, all the work you put toward it.
You know, like we said, we wouldn't have gotten what we got without all of you. You guys made the Chancellor's Office bargaining team frightened. With the S word talk, and that's a term that the chief negotiator used with us, that S word. You know, your extended contract, there's no concerted effort, meaning no use of the S word. But talk kept going on, and it was building. And I do believe you frightened them. And when we decided not to extend the contract, I think it bugged the crap out of them, to be honest with you. Of course, once we got the tentative agreement, we decided to extend the contract. So if there's any grievances, they can move forward until the contract's ratified. Any other questions?
Anyone? Oh, one back.
Wait, I can't hear you.
For the exempt employees, is it still at the discretion of your manager to give you that time back that you?
No.
Okay.
It's in the contract. They have to give you the informal time back. They have to rearrange your schedule in order to give you that time. Otherwise, it becomes grievable. If it's in the contract, they decide to misapply, misinterpret it, it's grievable. I'm sorry, what? The ones who are exempt employees, this applies to. For those of us like the Unit 7, we're not exempt any more than Unit 5. You have in Unit 9 and some in Unit 2 that are exempt employees.
On the same subject, so that means that if I have a day off and I'm called to do extra work, I would get time for that, not,
No. Rich is going to
Okay.
answer that. You just pressed his button.
You got my button. You're
Woo,
an
go Rich.
exempt employee, correct? Okay.
exempt employee.
If an exempt employee is on an off day, they're on vacation, they're sick, and they perform 1 second of work on behalf of the campus, they get the entire day back. Okay? Enforce it. That's law now. That's not in the contract. That's federal labor law. You can file immediately and get that day back. Just leave it blank on your timesheet saying, I worked that day. Thank you.
You notice how he sprung up very quickly on that because you pressed his button on that.
Okay, that's excellent. But would you clarify the rule is, though, for what you were just saying in the contract? I just want to make sure I'm clear on that,
Okay,
please.
if you work your day and then you're sitting at home and they call you to either show up physically or press a button from home, they have to give you the informal time off that you worked. That's what that means, which is a little bit different than what Rich was saying. Any other questions?
And once, twice. Everybody happy with the TA? Can I see a hand applause, yelling? Come on, this is a lot of work our bargaining team did. And a lot of work all of you guys did. E-activism, showing up to rallies, everything that you guys did, we were in it together. So thank you also. So, I want to thank the bargaining team for coming out. Thank you guys so much. I want to thank Fernando and Laura for doing the wonderful catering. We always have a good meal with them. I want to thank all of our volunteers, our e-board, my CAT team, and I want everyone to send well wishes to Don and Diego, who cannot make it today. So I'll let them know that you guys were all here supportive of everyone and all of our actions that we do on our behalf. Remember, all of us represent you, and if you want to be active, you guys can run for office as well. So if you want to run for office or want to volunteer in any way, we could use it. Go see Raquel and our elections team in the back. Thank you.